Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the National Timely Action Hour podcast. This is the show where we talk about everything from comic books to movies and everything in between. My name is Aidan, and I hope that you're doing well today. This is Season 4, Episode 18, and in this episode I want to discuss the top 10 things that I would like to see in Matt Reeves' upcoming film, The Batman Part 2. Now, at the time of recording, it is September of 2025. The script for this film has been completed, and they are going to begin filming next year, 2026. And it's slated to release in 2027. So we're still a ways away from the movie actually being shot and then obviously released. But these are things that I would like to see with, varying priority. So, in no particular order, I just wrote down 10 bullet points that I would, like to see in this movie. So, starting off, I'd like to see Bruce Wayne taking time to fund philanthropic endeavors. One of the things that I really enjoyed about the first The Batman movie is that we see Bruce secluded and isolated. The only people that he talks to are Alfred and his other staff. And, then later in the movie, he goes to the funeral for the mayor where he, talks to people. But, other than that, he's pretty isolated. But, we don't get the playboy persona, so I'd like to see that start developing. Like, he still uses his money to fund charities and stuff. It's just that, he's, gonna develop that party persona. Where he's like, oh, I will, take this girl out on a date to Switzerland. Then, I'll spend some money on some expensive art, etc., etc. But the main thing is, Bruce developing his public persona and, just differentiating himself from his Batman persona. Because, contrary to the popular belief, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many DC Comics writers, Bruce Wayne is the real person, whereas Batman is the mask that he wears. Because people are like, oh, Bruce Wayne's the mask. No. Batman is a man. Insert, Arkham subreddit joke about man here. But Batman is a man who wears a mask to hide his identity as he beats the ever-loving shit out of criminals. He's not some mystic force like Grant Morrison would have you believe. He is, a dude who wants to do the right thing and who also wants revenge for his trauma on the, concept, the, idea of crime. Suffice it to say, Batman's a crazy man. But, I still love the character. I'm just admitting that if you really read into this, he's a lunatic. But, we have to differentiate his real life from his superhero persona. Next point I'd like to see is Batman putting the fear of God into criminals, but bringing hope to the innocent. Again, this was really touched on at the end of the last movie, where Bruce is writing in his journal where he's saying that I need to be a symbol of hope for people, and obviously we want to expand on that, while also maintaining the fearsome hero who preys on the wicked. Next point I'd like to see is Julie Madison as Bruce Wayne's love interest. Now, Julie Madison was Batman's first love interest in the comics back in the 30s and 40s, but then they broke up, and then, he dated other women, but we have seen Julie on film before in 1997's Batman and Robin, directed by the late, great Joel Schumacher, but she wasn't really, a focus in that movie. She was just there as like, see, Bruce has a girlfriend. And I'd like to see a character arc for Julie and have her uh, explain why she's with Bruce and why they love each other, and sort of have a healthy, or as healthy as Batman can have, relationship. Next important point is Dick Grayson being adopted by Bruce. I think I speak for a lot of people in saying that I would love to see Robert Pattinson's version of Bruce Wayne adopting Dick Grayson and having him train Dick, and then Dick becoming Robin, and we see Batman and Robin on the big screen for the first time since 1997. And that movie came out 2 years before I was born. So for my entire life, in all of the Batman movies that have come out that are made in live action, none of them have had Robin. So I'd like to rectify that. Next, we have Batman training Robin. I mean, that sort of fits in the same category as that last point, but, just have Batman train Robin. Next point is the Penguin building his criminal empire now, and I know that at the end, Penguin sort of consolidates power and becomes like one of the head honchos of the mafia. So I'd like to see that sort of expanded on, obviously. Next, I'd like to see Harvey Dent being elected as the district attorney for Gotham City and set up him becoming Two-Face. We don't need to have him be Two-Face. I know it's Batman Part 2, but you don't need him to become Two-Face immediately. Have him be Batman. Have him become Two-Face in the next movie or in a TV show. Whatever. I just, need them to set up his character first. Then, I cannot stress this enough, there is no connection to James Gunn's DC Cinematic Universe. James Gunn has gone on record to say this. Matt Reeves has gone on record to say this. Some of the actors in the movie have gone on to say this. But people are like, oh, Robert Pattinson and David Corenswet, world's finest team up, would be so fucking peak, bro. It would be cool. Yeah, I'm going to admit that. But they said it's not in the same universe, so give up that pipe dream, buddy. Move on with your life. Jeez, they're just as bad as the Snyder Bros. Actually, no one's as bad as the Snyder Bros when it comes to toxic fandoms. They are, ugh. Then I'd like to see Basil Karlo, aka Clayface, as the main villain of the Batman 2. Because I just think, the original Clayface, who did not have morphing powers, he was just a guy who wore a mask who killed people. But, it fits within the theme of Matt Reeves' Batman 1, so I'm just saying, why not continue the trend, but, don't have to change the character drastically. You just look at his first appearance and be like, alright, there is the blueprint. And the final point I'd like to see in the Batman Part 2 is James Gordon being promoted to police commissioner. Now, since the police commissioner was killed in the Batman 1, and, the mayor and a bunch of other public officials, I'd like to see Gordon rise through the ranks. But that's all I have for you today in this episode of the National Timely Action Hour podcast. Once again, my name is Aiden. If you're new to this show and want to check out more content like this, please subscribe and share it with your friends so that they can hear this sort of content if they're interested in it. And please leave a comment telling me your thoughts on what you'd like to see in the Batman Part 2 and suggest any future episodes. And in the I post this on Spotify.com and YouTube.com, so in the YouTube version I'll leave a link to my main YouTube channel, the National Timely Action Hour, on YouTube.com. I'll also leave a link to my social media accounts so you can stay up to date on the podcast and my YouTube channel and send me a message. And I'll also leave a link to my merch store and Patreon page. So if you'd like to support this show financially, I'd greatly appreciate that. You get a slew of benefits like early access to episodes and Patreon exclusive posts. And you can also read my original writing projects, and you can vote on exclusive polls. But thank you so much for listening, and I sincerely hope that you have a wonderful day. Goodbye.